Hi, everybody. Um, Welcome to today's episode of Know Thy Therapist. My name is Jennifer and I'm a counseling psychologist in case you're new here and you've not yet heard from me. So we are ready for our guest. Our guest is Victor Juma. He is a counseling psychologist as well and an occupational therapist. So today we are going to hear his story. We're going to hear how he became a counseling psychologist and an occupational therapist, his journey through that, and how what he's doing right now as both a counselor and an occupational therapist. So he'll be joining us in just a minute. Grab something if you have not yet. Grab a book and a pen. You might hear something that might be useful for you in your life. So this is a good time to settle in. So Juma is just joining right now. I can see him on the screen. He's getting ready and he'll be in the live in just a minute. So let's be a bit patient. Oh, there he is. Hello. Hi, Juma.
Hi, Jenny.
You might have to set your camera the other way around because it's sideways right now. You have to put it straight, upright.
Oh, but you can hear me?
Yes, there you go. Yes, it has to be, upright like that.
So now you know the issue with these phones. Now you know my phone where I need to plug in my audio is down. You, you get that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Much better.
So that.
Much better. Yeah.
So I have to just.
Yep. There you are. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you very well. I can see you very well.
Fantastic. Welcome to this short. Welcome to Know the Therapist, and I can see we have Purity in the live. Purity, Karibu, and as we wait for everybody else to join in, we'll just get started. They will find us having started. So maybe Juma, we can just start by you telling us how your day has been, and how your week is looking like so far.
Personally, I'm well. The week is good. For me, Thursdays is most of the time a very busy day, but Fridays are lighter one. So it's like today I've been working since morning, up to around 4. But I'm good. I've gotten time to at least have some fresh air. So I'm good.
That's fantastic. That's great to hear. So just so that we can get straight into the live, I think it's a good time for you to introduce us to yourself. Tell us a bit about what kind of work you do and what training you have in the work that you do.
Okay. So I'm Juma. I'm Victor Juma. I'm a therapist. And being a therapist is very wide. So to be very specific, I am an occupational therapist as my first training. Then I went ahead and I did counseling psychology. And as we talk right now, I'm just preparing for my classes, my master's classes in clinical psychology. So I'm in that line.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long have you been practicing since you graduated from school?
Okay, from my first training now, it has been 10 years now. But as a counseling psychologist, now it has been 4 years, I guess. Yeah. And you know, yes.
Yeah, go on.
And the first one is like it's the mother of all. It's the one that is leading to what I'm building up. So it's the occupational therapy that attracted the counseling psychology and so on. But generally, as a kid, I grew up fantasizing this word psychologist. Then I didn't know even what it meant. But somehow early in life, I always told people I'll be a psychologist, not knowing what psychologists, who are they, what they do. But I just knew they are people who help people. Yeah. So I'm on that journey of now fulfilling that dream.
Now that you mentioned it, could you tell us about the origins of this whole Juma that you know as an occupational therapist and a counseling psychologist? How does that story start? Where does it begin?
Just the way I've said, as a child, as a boy, personally I grew up in a village, but I don't know where I acquired this name. I don't know how I came across it, but I used to fancy myself, I used to call myself a psychologist. But now through high school, that had disappeared. So when I was in high school, then the psychology thing wasn't there. So then I thought maybe I would do law. That is now what was on my mind. But after high school, I was also a sporting guy. So I got busy with sports. And actually, I can play more than 4 games competently.
Oh, wow.
I can play
Which ones are those?
I can play football, I play basketball, I play handball, I play table tennis.
Oh, wow. As a person
volleyball.
who is athletically handicapped, as a person who is athletically disadvantaged, I can't speak myself.
Yeah. So I even remember in high school when our volleyball team was looking for somebody, and I was just recruited because I used to go there play part-time, and they realized this guy can help us somehow. But we didn't go past our district level, but I can play sports. So I got busy, but I started looking at myself as a lawyer. But when I finished high school, I think things didn't work out. I missed a few points. I missed like 2 points to get a public university intake. So I had to go back home, and that journey of being a lawyer, I think somehow started dwindling. So after some time, I thought of why don't I go into medical school? So I applied for clinical medicine at Kenya Medical. I got a letter. I came, but on the reporting date, can you imagine there was no my name under clinical psychology people, but I had the letter. So then I was sent to the registrar's office. Then I was told, just go around and check. Your name must be somewhere. If actually we gave you a letter, your name must be somewhere. And I found my name in occupational therapy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So somehow you stumbled upon it.
Yeah, it was listed under occupational therapy.
Yeah.
So then I tried to change it, and somebody told me actually that this KMTC, when you try to change things, they'll tell you wait, and that is how you lose your chance. So it's better sign up for this occupational therapy. Once you do it, maybe the first year you can change.
Yeah.
Then I said, okay, that's good, because when you're out there, most these public institutions, it's very hard. Mostly Kenya Medical, you apply and reapply. So I said, okay, let me go with that route maybe. But after first year, I realized actually this is what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what goes well. This is what resonates well with my personality. This is what actually I need to do.
Yeah.
So then I just fall in love with it. Then from there, but since my own interest now as an occupational therapy student, I found myself, very strong in psychosocial dysfunctions. So these things to do with, mental health and work. Adjustment issues, relationships. I realized actually this is what I want to do. So then the journey of the occupational therapy became a passion to me. Yeah, so that's how I found myself becoming a therapist.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. And I wonder, now that you became an occupational therapist, where did counseling psychology show up? How did you end up getting a different degree from your primary degree?
So actually, I can just explain who is an occupational therapist, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, so an occupational therapist is a health professional who works with different age of people, that is from children to elderly people. But the main reason, the main aim of an occupational therapist is to help any individual be able to maintain their independent functioning. In case there is a dysfunction, and this dysfunction can be a physical one, it can be mental one, it can be work-related, any dysfunction. So an occupational therapist is able to do an assessment and actually come up with what may be the problems. Then they will help this person be able to either retrain themselves, the skill to, keep functioning independently, or they can adapt if what has caused the illness, it is severe in a way that they cannot, go back to how they used to do their work, then an occupational therapist still has the ability to come up with the mind of how can this person be able to function without depending on anybody. So that one, with psychology now, with understanding human difficulties, becomes very linked. So then, so now my childhood story of being a psychologist now came up. That came up. So that's how now, when I started now working with children, mostly as a pediatric occupational therapist, I realized there was a disconnect between the families in which these children come from and the process of rehabilitating the child. You realize the children will have issues, but at that age, they don't know if they have issues that, is a big issue out here. But now the family finds it very difficult. There's a lot of challenges that the family now go through that needed some psychological help. That's why I said, for me to be able to understand the parents or be able to also, attend to them as I attend to their children, it's better I become a counselor so that I can be able to talk to them. So I started looking at counseling psychology, and actually I became very interested in what we call genetic counseling, where, you are able to even tell if you are pregnant, you are able to tell if whoever you're carrying is a child that maybe may have certain conditions, so that you can prepare yourself. That's an area that, in Africa, is not doing well. That's why we find ourselves, a lot of families, when a child comes and have special needs, it becomes very frustrating. It becomes a challenge. So that is something we want to pursue as time goes by, so that we see if we can, bring it to limelight, so that people can have options of, planning for their children, even knowing what do we expect in those conditions that can be screened earlier during pregnancy. But those that happens now after pregnancy, then we're also working hard to ensure that during this early, the well child visits, that all hospitals include people who can be in those clinics and talk to mothers as they come and prepare them. What will happen if maybe you get a child, but the child comes and they have a special need? So preparing them becomes very important, but that doesn't happen even up to date. But that's the line now where we are. We are trying now to work on a few things and ensure that people are prepared. So that's how I ended up going to counseling psychology.
That's a very good. It makes it's a sensible trajectory that you would move from occupational therapist and then build upon that with counseling psychology. It makes sense because that seems like a logical next step, because both of these things support each other. One makes the other stronger, and I think that's a really admirable thing that you're doing. I'm actually curious now that you mentioned genetic counseling, what kind of uptake it has received so far, because I know as Africans we have the thing where we say kazi ya Mungu ina makosa, whatever child I have is the child that I have, especially now when they are pregnant, when a person is pregnant, and maybe they might be like, don't try to test me and tell me my child is going to have a particular challenge when they are born. You don't know that. Who do you think you are? There's that friction between religion and our religious beliefs and science. So I wonder what the conflict there looks like in your experience. What has been your experience with that?
What I can say is that genetic counseling is not, it doesn't have a chance in our community right now. It's not there because something new. It's not there. Wow. Even the hospitals that we are visiting to try and have this conversation, many of them, it's something, even the doctors, they have gone through studies, but they like, wow, that's a Western thing.
A very Western concept.
But you have mentioned about religion, and I can say I'm a believer. I'm a born again Christian. So I study my Bible. I have faith. I am a believer. But I also, in the Bible that I read, there is places, there is scripture that actually says that if any of us is sick, they should see a physician. So God, in his knowledge, knows that there's things that will be sorted by a physician. So that means there is wisdom that God gives to his people that he intends that the people will use it to sort their own problems.
Yeah.
So actually, the process of genetic counseling, it's a process that, shields people. For example, there are those conditions that are genetical in nature, that if tested and maybe you're found to be a carrier of a certain genetic condition that may be passed on to a child, you have, the choice to choose if you're going to conceive and, carry the pregnancy or not. Or also, it gives you the chance to exercise your faith. Yeah, because in the Bible that I read, there is a story that it says that there is a child in the Bible that actually during pregnancy was supposed to be a boy. But because of one or two things, God had to change that and the child was born to be a girl. So, we cannot just brush it aside and say, genetical thing, we cannot, question what God wants us. No, there is things that God, gives us a free will to make choice. But now that's a whole lot of conversation that is there.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. I'm very curious about genetics, religion, and all the science that goes behind it, because I've always been fascinated by the conflict that we have, especially as Africans, with religion and science. There seems to be a conflict in most cases, a conflict that I don't think should be there, because it's my very strong opinion that religion and science complement each other. But then maybe I'm alone in that one. I don't know. But it's good to hear that, and I can't wait to see what kind of findings you will get in future with your work. So I'm very invested in the progress that you will make in that particular aspect. So that's fantastic. That's really, really good. I have a question about, you've mentioned how you got into the field. You've mentioned about how you got into both of these fields, and now that you're pursuing even an entirely different field, which is clinical psychology at the master's level. Why do you do what you do? Why therapy? Why counseling? Why do you do what you do?
So actually, to be honest, there are certain things that become relevant as we grow. The deeper, it goes, the better it becomes. So when I started off as a therapist, it was that, I need to be educated, I need a job, and you get. But now when I started practicing as an occupational therapist, and I started, experiencing how God has given me a skill that transforms someone else's life. And mostly, as I said, right now, I'm very interested with children. And I think this one I'll explain later, but I can just talk about it. What I'm discovering now, as I now commit myself to study more the psychology and the stuff, there's no mental issue in adulthood that starts in adulthood. All our mental issues starts early in childhood. Our ability to cope, our ability to, bounce back from, negative experiences, all of them have a root from childhood. So I'm convinced if you sort children, you sorted many adults. That's why I'm actually planning to have, dedicating or committing myself to study more about human functioning and be able to come up with programs that can help many children be able to, to grow up and become very stable adults. Because all adults that struggle with mental health, if you check keenly, you realize a lot of their issues stem from childhood. Yeah. So, yeah. So I don't know if I deviated from your question. There's a question you had asked.
Yeah, I just wanted to find out your reason for doing what you do.
Yeah, so thank you. So I said, now when I started along the way, I realized there is children that, transform through my hands. The children, the families that become very happy. Actually, there is a client of mine that, moved from Kenya late last year, and they moved to Dubai. And they came to Kenya here. They've been in Kenya for the last 7 years. So one evening, when we were having a conversation, the father told me that, actually there's a time I sit in my house and I'm doing my work, and I see how calm the boy is on the spectrum. He has autism spectrum disorder. And I see how this boy is calm and doing their own stuff. And I remember when we met you, and it was hectic having the boy at home.
Yeah.
Then actually, I feel like many people in your country don't know what you do. They don't know how helpful you are. That here I am, I can carry my work home and work without this boy disturbing, and that is a transformation that we have seen for the last 4 years you worked with him. Then with the only thing, that's what he was telling me, the only thing we can do is always to pray for you. You get? So that feeling that, God has given you a chance to know certain things that can support or transform the lives of other people, that has become my passion. Actually, I tell people in church, I serve God through my work.
That is so inspiring. That is so inspiring. That is really, really dope. And I'm very happy to hear it. It makes a lot of sense and a lot of difference. Before we go on, I want to just take a minute to give a shout out to all our people who are listening right now. I can see Purity is in the video, in the live. Lillian, Mwangangi, I can see Wangari, I can see Dorothy, I can see Rose, I can see Omedo is here with us. I can see Paul. Thank you guys for coming through. If you have any question for Juma, specifically about occupational therapy, about mental health, you can ask directly in the comment section and I will read them out. If you have any question for me, specifically, you can ask them in the comment section as well. And I will make sure we answer them before we end this live. So thank you for staying strong. Invite a friend to listen with you and share this around, share the link for someone else to join. So let's carry on from there. You mentioned that you have worked for 10 years as an occupational therapist and you've worked for another 4 as a counseling psychologist, and that's a lot of time, that's a lot of experience. I wonder what your clients have taught you. What is something that you know for sure, if it was not for your clients, you would never have learned? What is that lesson?
Being a therapist is something that is very interesting.
Yeah.
You help your clients, and your clients helps you in the process.
Yeah.
What so far I know from my work is something that actually life process is cast on a deeper process that we cannot understand as human beings. It's very deeper. The only thing you can do at your best is to become a good student of life itself, the life events and the process. But just like every student that gets in a class, we get into a classroom, but when we get into a classroom, all of us, we have qualified. That's why we get into that classroom. But at the end, you realize there are people who won't perform. Along the line, there's people who came there strong, but by the time you're graduating, some even do not graduate. So why is this? Because some fail to commit to become students of that class. So life itself, you need to commit and become the best student of that life, and you can be able to discover. Imagine my clients have shown me how impatient I was as a person for the starting. Mostly kids, the kids I work with, many of them have transformed me. There is places when you just hold your arm and say, do I burst or do? But you need to learn how to just, calm yourself and, watch the child go through the process that you want them to be able to do. And that's as a person. So going through that, because I interact with the children and I interact with their families, and actually it proves to me that what we think is obvious, can you imagine it's not obvious to other people? Yeah. Don't assume. That's what however simple it may look, don't assume that it is very simple, the other person can, and this one applies both, even in the relationships. As you exist with someone, whatever you think, actually this is common sense. Yes. Never assume it's common sense. Actually, those are the things, those are the things that bring a lot of functional troubles and difficulties among people. Because from our perspective, we assume that actually it is obvious the other person should just read it out and blah, blah. So right now, my clients are showing it, but they come with the issues. You realize this is just a simple thing as being firm, and it is done. Yeah, but it's not simple to that person, given to the circumstance and position in which they are. Can you imagine you being a mother? You have a child, maybe they have some disruptive behaviors, and you're supposed to change them. So operating between the passionate mother and an agent of change against a behavior becomes a very difficult thing. A very difficult thing. So I have learned that it cannot be obvious. You cannot say it's obvious. You need to give the other people chance to, present themselves so that it's not obvious. We need support. This person needs support. We all need support at a certain point. Then also, I have learned so far for the last 10 years that individuals remain to be individuals, and they are very dynamic. You can only appreciate their uniqueness and support them at the level of their needs. Don't bring your needs to people. Whatever you may think need to be sorted, like let me put it in the example of children. There are children who come to us, and you may think they must learn this specific skill. But that skill to the child and to their family and their family environment is not necessary. So you cannot force them to learn such a skill. So when it comes to the adult functioning, as a counseling psychologist now, there are people now who come to me, to go through that process. You realize what is a need to you may not be a need to them. So you have just to be patient and wait for them to present exactly what is their difficult. So help them to sort that, but not what you think yourself. Then the last one that I think it is now coming out clearly is that in each person there is always two opposing forces that actually each can be turned for the positive. If you say somebody's weak, they still have the same amount of strength that is just hidden somewhere. You get it? If you say this person is always happy, inside themselves there is similar amount of sadness. It's only that they have chosen, to expose their happy side. But actually, that dichotomy, the happiness, there's still the same amount of sad force in them, that if something happens that can, take away the happiness, then they will express the sadness to the same force. So always sorry.
I think that is a fantastic way of putting it, because especially when you've mentioned that people will always be people have their own agendas, people know what they want. It can be very uncomfortable, especially for a counselor, when a client comes to you and you can see that they're clearly struggling with something, and you can see clearly what they need to address, but then it's not their primary focus, it's not one of the main goals that they have, and you're seated there and you're thinking, this is common sense, you're supposed to know this thing, and again, what you're saying, common sense is not common, and even beyond that, your priorities are not other people's priorities. So it's all right for you to back off and be like, okay, we're going to address what you need us to address. It's this thing that I keep telling people: meet your clients where they are, meet your people where they are, meet people where they are. Do not try to impose your priorities on other people. Do not try to believe that what you think they should be working on is what they should be working on. Those are two different things. Yeah, thank you so much for stating that. I can see Beverly is with us, and Kahianyo. I think it's Kahianyo. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Meg and Shadi, thank you so much for coming through. I can see Paul as well. Thank you so much for coming through and sticking around. Eric Kiplagat says it's an informative session. Thank you, Eric, for being around. Invite a friend to listen to the conversation or share this link with them to watch later as we continue this. So I am very curious. Juma, you're a counseling psychologist, as an occupational therapist and a counseling psychologist. My question is, there's a serious shortage of counseling psychologists who are men in the field. We have them in the policy in the tables that are making, in the places where policies are being made. We have them when it comes to psychiatry. We have very many psychiatrists who are men. We have them as doctors. But then when it comes to counseling psychology, and psychology, basically talk therapy, it seems like it's a field that has been left to women. What is your take on that?
This one I will handle it this way. There is something called cohort. Cohort is a term. It's used in different fields. But actually, when you talk about, for example, when you talk about work cohorts, each generation has, and this time I'm basing it towards the mental health clinic, the psychology and that stuff. Each group of individuals have unique challenges. Like initially, if we talk about the last 4 decades ago, you wouldn't talk about people like, even up to today, you won't talk about telling men that go for a counseling session. Mostly African, because one, as an African society or community, we had systems that used to take care of our things. So we exist as a collective community where auntie, uncle, brother matters. You can't just make decision. You have to, what will my aunt say? What will my brother say? And those people actually used to come together and will help when there is issue. So we had a system of solving our issues. But the Western world, which is an individualistic community, came in and has sold a lot of things to us. So then our collective community has disintegrated. You get? So the manfold is still existing here with the, that masculinity, existence. However much we are there, if you gave 10 Kenyan men a chance to choose and do counseling psychology versus doing structural blah, 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 that may not be even very marketable, they rather do those structural blah, blah, blah because of the masculinity. The woman always has presented herself as a caregiver, because that is what an African community has done to women from a long time ago. You take care of children, you take care of the husband, so if it comes to something to do with counseling psychology, women will take it very fast because that is the role that even they have been playing and they're still playing it. Yeah. So women find it more suitable to be in this profession, but men, we are still finding it more, that's more of it's very, women-like. You get, I think that's the reason why it's there. Yeah.
Okay. I'm liking that answer because it speaks a lot about to feminism and the way that roles are just put up for women to take up because they seem to be expected to be the nurturers because we have decided that biologically we are women and women are supposed to be nurturers. So I like that it plays on along several different spheres, and that is really impressive. I think it's something we should think about on a deeper level, and maybe at another time we can have that conversation. As before we go on, let me give a shout out to Naiga. Naiga is in the live. Adi Black is in the live, and Eliza as well. Thank you guys for coming through. If you have any questions for Juma specifically about occupational therapy, about mental health, you can send them through in the chat, and I will read them out for Juma, and then he'll respond. And before we finish this live, shifting gears a little bit, I wonder what right now, September, it's mental health, suicide prevention awareness month. I keep having trouble with that statement. That's the month we are in. What is your message for anybody who might be listening, or right now, or even in future, about and maybe they're struggling with suicide, or they have a person in their family who has struggled with suicidality? What is your message for them?
So my message would be, one, none of us, as long as you're functioning and you're a human being, none of us is immune to mental ill health. All of us, we have equal chances of finding ourselves with a mental illness, mental struggle. It may not be to that magnitude that you need full rehabilitation, but it can come to you in a way that it can interfere with your quality of life. So then, what do we need to do? In philosophy, there is this concept called premeditatio malorum. I think it's something that the philosophers, there's one philosopher that advanced it, and he said it is actually healthy to think about negatives. It's healthy for you sometime to sit down and ask yourself, what if I started and I break down with the depression? What can happen to me? How will I cope? As in premeditating about negative events that may catch up with you, and actually having a brainstorming session with yourself of which ways, what the worst that can happen, actually prepares you so that when such a thing happens, actually your body somehow is prepared. So that means all of us, it's good to start practicing. And actually, you'll be surprised, most of us as a country, majority, 80% plus, we don't do what we call mental strength practicing or mental fitness exercises. This, if you took, let's say, 100 of us and asked them, actually, how many of us on a daily basis or twice a week gets time to sit down and look at yourself, how you think, how you view issues, how you solve your own issues. That process of introspection. You realize very few do it. And that's the only process that gives you chance to take stock of mentally how are you. There's a lot of online, self-check tests that, checks your anxiety level, your stress level, your, extroversion level, your introversion level. But majority of people, we don't do that. And actually, those are the things that, exercise, they jog your mental, strength, analyzing your thoughts, negative versus positive thought, and actually telling yourself, actually, Victor, in this circumstance, you are not thinking, that wasn't a good thinking, We don't do that. So my message will be, it's good, before it happens to you, it's good to practice. Strengthen yourself mentally. Give a chance to the thoughts of, what if this one happened? How will I be able to cope? And also, come out here and get support. If you feel like you're having some feelings, you're having some thoughts that actually you can't get out of easily, come out here and get support. If you cannot get it from a qualified therapist, find somebody who is more friendly, that you can be safe with them and talk about it. Because what happens, just like children, there's a stage of growth where children will actually talk about everything that they are doing. They're either riding a car, they will talk. That talk actually helps them to feed their brain with the information that their brain cannot do, what we call the silent thinking. So as you grow up, that stage doesn't go. Actually, there is times when you need to sit down with yourself alone and ask yourself verbally and audibly, Victor, this is how you are quarreling with your spouse. What did you say? So that you say it, listening to it, you realize, Manze, I say that those were not things I was supposed to say. You get? Yeah. So sometimes when you're thinking and blurting and talking, you don't get a chance to listen to yourself saying it. Actually, somebody can say, do you know you said this, and say, how? No, I didn't say that. Yeah. So such practices help us to be mentally prepared, and also helps us to solve a lot of mental struggle that are within us. Yeah.
Okay.
That's my message.
Thank you for sharing that. I can see Shalmit is here, and Dolphin is saying, Dolphin Achieng is saying, I'm happy to Juma to see you. So you have your fans in the
thank
live.
you.
So, yes.
Dolphin Achieng. Yeah, this is a friend of mine. I think it's years, very many years.
It's your time to connect. Immediately after this call, you guys should connect and tell us how it goes.
Actually, I should.
Yeah. When we start out as counselors, when we are in school, they teach us a lot of things. A lot of things we learn and we feel our minds, and it's awesome and it's fantastic. And then after we graduate, we do that thing for Vitukwa ground. So I'm wondering, what is something that you wish you knew about Vitukwa ground before you graduated? Because sometimes it feels like you're born. Graduation day is the day you're born, and you're just thrown in the world. They don't give you 10 minutes to orient yourself, and so you get to the ground and things look very grim and scary. So what is the lesson that you wish you had learned before you were thrown into the Vitukwa ground situation? Something they should have told you.
If I know before I die, God willing, I should be able to write a few books on mental health and so. So one of my message to lecturers and people who train us is that they should stop portraying human beings as if they are just stereotypic individuals that you will find them behaving just the way the theory said. That is actually I'm starting to believe that's somehow fallacious, because you come out here and you realize human beings are very dynamic. Those things you thought will work, and you will help sort people, you realize it is not that. You have never met an educated adult who is having mental issues. You realize you know nothing. You realize actually you're tired. You may not be able to help them until themselves expresses a need to be helped. Yeah. So it cannot be stereotyped. When you're in college, you think things, when I go out there, I will meet people and now it will be arranged this way. Actually, there is a lot of theories that you try to put in place. In practice, you realize it isn't working. Yeah. But now the basics of just understanding how you should, tag along with human beings actually gives you a lot of breakthrough. There's certain people who even, mostly in counseling, there's many people who don't even want you to tell them what you think or what they are not doing right. There's some people who just want you to listen there and say, okay, so what do you decide? And they come up with their own issue. What they wanted, they just wanted somebody to listen without answering back, because maybe the environment where they are coming from, every time they are talking, the other person is talking, so nobody listens to them. So they become stuck, not because they don't know what to do, but because they just want somebody to listen and validate and tell them, that's okay, go ahead if you believe in it. And that's the only thing they want. So I think that even as students, as you when you're there, just know those are just structures that help you to understand human being. But as you come here, you need to develop a relationship with your clients, mostly. Even the children that I work with, some of them, if you think you're going to structure activities and you give them and you realize sometimes it's not even that. You just need to develop a working relationship with them, make that environment very supportive, and allow them to do their thing. And finally, you realize, they are just people.
Oops, seems like Juma has dropped off for a minute. I think it could be a network issue. So I can see that so far we have Wanyiri and Durango in the live. We have Judy Ogeto And Paul Cairo says he's enjoying the show. It's very informative. Thank you, guys. I am glad that you're here. You make this awesome. Just knowing that you guys are here and supporting is very fantastic. So it seems like Juma has kind of disappeared and fallen off the live. And if you can hear me, just to confirm that I'm not the one struggling here, please say hello or hi or following or something in the comments so that I can see your comments. And then we'll give Juma just a minute or two to get back on the bandwagon. So yeah, I don't think it's a live recording if somebody does not struggle with technology at some point. So this is part of the process. Yes, Eric Kiplagat can hear me. Thank you, Eric. Let's give Juma a minute to get back on. Thank you, Judy. In the meantime, yes, Juma got lost, Eric. I think he lost his network or something. That's the only explanation that I can come up with. So let's give him a minute to get back on. It could be just a network thing. In the meantime, if you have any question for me or about mental health, I'm a counseling psychologist, just in case you have any questions regarding the profession or regarding the work that we do, you can ask them and I will answer them as we wait for Juma, who is coming back right now. Yep, there he is.
Sorry.
It's totally fine. I was telling guys that it is not a live video if there's no technical challenges. It has to happen.
And actually, it is not something. It's just us behavior. He's just a friend who's calling and he know I'm here. Now I'm using the same phone. He calls. Now I have to.
Yes.
I have to get
This is part of the process. This is part of the process. Do not even apologize. This is part of the process. It could be me. Somebody could call me right now and we'd go back to square one. So it's totally fine. And so far we have guys in the comments are very happy to see you and for this conversation. We have Paul Cairo saying that he's enjoying the show. It's very informative. We have what's her name? We have Jacqueline who says that this is awesome and she's following. Thank you, Jacqueline. I see you. Jacqueline is former classmates.
We were classmates.
Yes. We have Rose Cairo who is saying that she has known Juma for 4 years now and she has learned a lot in her line of work. Good job, Juma. You are transforming lives. So congratulations. Good work. They love you and they love your presence. So
thank you.
Just to sum up what you were saying about what you've learned on the bit of the ground part is that people will surprise you and the theories that you learn in class are just theories. When you get to the ground, develop a relationship with your clients. And to speak to that, I want to say that for me, it's always been the thing where we were taught about the ideal client, the one who walks into the counseling session, they sit down nicely, and you guys in the first session, you take history, you answer questions, and then after that, they go home. You do your treatment plan, you plan for the next 4 or 5 weeks, and you prepare, and they come back, and you guys follow vizuri, you get to termination, you terminate nicely, and they go. I have never met that person. I have never met that client. I have never met that client. I have met clients who, by session 3, we have not even finished history taking. And we're in that session. Yes. So I think our lecturers need to remind us that the ideal client is not an ideal. It's exactly that, an ideal client, and they will not be there.
And actually, for those who are following us and they are occupational therapists, they will share with me these sentiments. That even for our pediatric clients, the children, even something very, very frustrating is their family members, the parents. Once they receive and they are told, your child has this condition, they also go rush to the internet, they Google, and they read a lot of stuffs. Yes. And when they come to you, they're already telling you what you should try works. And you yourself, you've gone through that, there's a lot of stories. You get what we need actually is not. So some will even tell. You get. So they expect that this thing that the theory explains, they think there's that ideal condition when the child will come in, or if it's an adult who you are going through, like for example, there's a client of mine that I was helping to, overcome some addiction, alcohol. The guy was really, getting it tough. The life was, messed up, the job, so, this, an educated guy, is a very smart guy, a guy who's in managerial, position. So he will come with you, you will talk, and actually he'll appear like, this one I have now gotten it. You know, this is what will work. 2 days to be called that now your friend. Yesterday we just went to collect. You get? So, you know, there are people who, you know, they beat the theory thing. They, you know, you need to work with them for some time so that them themselves can realize actually they need change. Because of that, I also want just to share a message for those who are following us. Actually, 90% of our issues are within the struggle with our own self. 90% of the issues we meet do not come from the external environment. It's the battle with the self. Actually, if we start a process of discovering ourselves and discovering how our self operates, who we are in private and who we desire to be, the discrepancy that is there, how we take up things, how we respond in emotionally, you know, our cognitive process actually will become more happier than the external environment won't bring issues. You know, you have very strong locus of control that comes from within yourself, where the external environment won't do anything. But majority of us, we overlook the struggle within ourselves and think our struggle comes from external. So we keep on, you know, pointing finger outside on the system, you know, it's only because I don't have enough money, or it's only because I'm not educated, or it's only because I'm not liked. It's not the external. External is very, very little, maybe 10%, but 90% it's us, ourselves. That we really need to deal with.
Yeah, I really agree with that, because I have noticed that the clients that I've worked with in the past, and even the ones that I'll work with in future, the one thing I've noticed that runs through, it's like a string, a thread that runs across all my, most of my clients, the ones who have struggled the most with therapy. It's been the clients who come to therapy and they want the people in their lives to change. They're not there for them to change. They come and they tell you how everything outside of them is bad, and it is bad, and it is happening, and it needs to change. The clients who have struggled the most with therapy, the ones who tell me that therapy is not working for them, most of them have something to do with the fact that they have no desire to change themselves in any way. They want the world to change. And I agree with what you're saying. The locus of control, it has to be internal, and most of it is internal, and we need to appreciate that. So thank you so much for saying that. Allow me to read a comment from Purity that says, this is a very informative session, and Juma has mentored me to be the kind of a therapist I am today. Thank you, Juma, and may God help you to continue transforming lives. So again, Juma, people love you. Awesome stuff. So let me go to the part where I ask you about yourself now. Okay, we've been asking you about yourself, but this one is very personal, in the sense that you do a lot of work. You do a lot of work with kids. As you've said, your main focus is kids at the moment. And if anybody is listening and they have a child that they want Juma to work with, this is the person to work with. What do you do for self-care to make sure that you don't burn out, considering the number of things that you're juggling? You're a parent, you are a spouse, you are an employer, you are working with employees, you're working with other counselors, you're an occupational therapist, you're a counseling psychologist, you're a student doing your clinical psychology masters. There's a lot going on there. How do you not burn out? Teach us your ways, master.
Jenny, we've met, you know me. You see, my body is stiff. Yeah? You see the first 1 hour of my life, my day, every day, is either on a road running, or it is in the gym. Sometimes I play ball. I've just been off for this whole year because I got injury. Where we work, one place I work is called Rainbow Therapies, institution that is doing a lot of good work when it comes to transforming the life of children with autism. It's called Rainbow Therapies. It's in Kitisuru. And actually today, that's where I was, and that is where I'm still, because that's where the office is. So we have a place where we play ball, and we have a very good team of fellow colleagues. So we play, but it has been a year. I got my injury that happened earlier when I was in high school. So I'm not, but I run, I work out. weekends when I get chance I MC in weddings. Actually, mnipigie hapo simu wakati mna nini. You get.
Please,
And also,
to MC in your wedding. Just relating.
so I'm just a very active guy. Yeah.
We have an MC
I'm just
in the chat.
I'm just a very active guy. I do team buildings. You get, you know, I like energy. Mostly what I have learned from physical exercise and living is they give you an endurance. You get. Personally, I say if we were given a spectrum of working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, throughout, I think many people will fall down before I fall down. Yeah, because exercise has been part of my life. But for when I want to switch off from therapy and people and whatever, I make furnitures. Actually, you should request a few Ottoman cushions. I'll make you nice ones.
Oh,
make that. And actually, I'm planning to start doing what we call the furniture flipping, where I buy very old furnitures and I renovate them. That is what I want to start doing for my part-time, you know, pesa appear. You know, in therapy, there is no money. That's where I see you. You are a counselor.
No, I am a counselor. Trust me.
How many clients pay you the money you want?
If I start talking.
Yeah. So I find out how to take care of myself, and apart from that, I think mentally myself, what you know, helps me how I take care of myself mentally also is through my Bible. I read my Bible. It's the first book that I read most of the time mornings, and it guides me, it corrects me. It, you know, before anybody corrects me, even at job, I try as much as possible to be corrected by the word of God, and I think that is what also sets me up. Yeah.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Dancing is also one. Dancing.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned about the furniture thing, because it is, again, anybody who knows me knows that sometimes I have my strong opinions that I'm willing to hold on for a while. My strong opinion is that every mental health professional, especially, but anybody in general, everybody needs a creative pursuit. Everybody needs something that they do, not for money, not for because it's an employment. Like, everybody needs something that they can do that brings them genuine joy, and it is a creative endeavor. So whether it is painting, whether it is writing music, whether it is pottery, whether it is building things with doing woodwork, planting flowers, anything that is creative, that requires your creative brain. It is my firm belief and strong opinion that everybody should have something like that in their life, and I'm happy that you have one. So congratulations. That is really fantastic. That is really, really good. And
you know, Jenny, personally, I tell myself somehow I'm a loser. That's what I tell myself. Do you know why? I can do so many things, but actually I'm not perfecting. I can do so many things.
But you know, it's
like God has blessed me with. If we go partying, I'll dance. If we go, I don't know, anything. But actually, it's like this therapy thing has now taken a lot of my time. I don't think about so many things apart from this one. But hizo vitu zingine ndio sasa when I feel like actually I don't want to therapy and anything. I don't want it in my mind. I get to do that. But I thank God for that. It was just a joke. That one was just a joke.
Of course. It's the thing about life is about experiencing things. You're here to collect experience. So it doesn't matter whether you're perfecting or not. You're collecting experiences, and that's fantastic. And again, it gives you the ability to do the work that you do well, because it takes your mind away from the work, and you can always come back to the work. So I think that's an important thing. We are coming to the very close end of this conversation, which has been fantastic. For me, at least, it's been awesome. I have learned a lot from you, and I think this is a wonderful time for you to share with our audience that has been here from the very beginning, some resources that you think would be helpful for them. If maybe somebody does not have access to a therapist right now, they don't have the ability to go see a counselor, maybe because of finances or because of work or for whatever other reason, some resources that they can use to take care of themselves and to make sure that they do not burn out, to make sure that they are in a good place mentally. What are some of those resources that you'd like to share with us?
Okay, so as I've said, and I I don't want to offend anybody that may be listening to us that is not a Christian, but personally, as a believer, one of my biggest resources is my Bible. That's one. The second one, this is now an era of information where you can access so many books that you want. As long as you want any book on anything, may it be anxiety, may it be performance, adjustment, anything. There's a lot of online libraries, but personally, I've been using the Z library for a long time. So the only thing I do is to ensure that whatever book I'm downloading from that library is not 10 years plus old. Yeah, so there, because of I mostly download a lot of books from about psychology, about therapy, and the general books that I really want to study about. And actually, just recently, I've downloaded some philosophy books because I'm very interested with philosophy. So I just want to start reading and so on. Yeah. Apart from there, also, I've subscribed to Psychology Today. Psychology Today is a big platform that has blogs, and once you subscribe to them, even on your Google, how you open your Google and now articles comes, you'll receive a lot of psychology related articles from them, because every day they have a lot of writers popping up information and the new trends and so on. Then apart from that, we also very positive on what we call close groups. So, like as I say, we have groups that we are just geared towards healthy living. So I will encourage each one of us here, make it your effort to ensure that you engineer a few groups that you can influence. If they cannot influence you, then you influence them. And let it be mostly about your mental health, your positive living. Those genuine friends, genuine groups where friends, they'll tell you, man, they actually, that one was a good performance. Actually, this is where, people who will give you a true positive feedback. People who will tell you, here, you've done it wrong, when you've done it wrong. Not people who will say, actually, it was good, and they go to smile aside. You get? Those becomes the best resources, and they will keep on sharing things, things that engage you people, things that always pushing you towards the positive living.
That's fantastic. I think those are really good, and I agree with you. Psychology Today is a resource for every single person. If you have anything that you have ever wanted to know, Google is your best friend, and past Google, always find mental health professionals who can always answer your questions. Remember, Infinity Wellness Consultants is a platform that you can get mental health content all through. We share a lot of content on this platform. And even beyond that, I'm sure there are many places that you can get content these days. So don't limit yourself. Juma, as we come to the end of this session, I am sure there's somebody who's listening, who is listening right now or will listen sometime in future to this video, and they're thinking, Juma is a wonderful counselor, Juma is a wonderful occupational therapist. I would really want to work with him concerning my child specifically, because you've said that your work focuses a lot on children, especially children who are struggling with developmental issues. So how do they find you? Where do they find you? Plug yourself. Tell us where to find you if we are looking for you.
Okay. So something first. I don't know how is it that I'm not a media person. Do you know that I don't have Instagram, whatever? I don't have.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
But
trust me.
I operate. I'm a team lead to a group that call itself Early Intervention Therapies. A group of professionals, therapists, mostly that are coming together to be able to offer therapy solution to children within schools. So we are, yes. So we work with different institutions. So like if you want to find me, mostly, you go to Rainbow Therapies. Rainbow Therapies is a very up-to-date institution that is actually ahead of its game, trying to ensure that children with special needs, mostly autism and others, can get, support. It is in Kitisuru. So when you come there, you find us. Also, there is an organization called Nione Initiative, where I'm their trainer. We do a lot of lobbying and helping churches to come up with strategies of how, to accommodate children with various special needs within church. There's a community-based organization that's doing a lot of good work. It's called SEP Kenya, which I happen to be a member, and I'm there. Then there is Little Sprout Montessori for those who are within Ruaka and they're looking for a school. Little Sprout Montessori gave us a chance actually to develop the early child learning program and special need. So we are doing a very good job there. If you go there, you'll find out. And towards on the side of Lavington, also there's Nairobi Early Intervention Center. We are there doing that. And also now on LinkedIn, you can find me there, Wilfred Victor Juma. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
That's where. And now here, you.
Of course. Of course. I know. If they search for early interventions on Facebook, they are going to find early intervention therapies.
Even our website is there, but for the last 1 month is under construction. We are rebuilding it to something else. www.earlyinterventiontherapies.com. Yeah. And also our Facebook page, Early Intervention Therapies, is there. Yeah.
Okay. That's fantastic. I'm gonna be linking all that information in the description box of this video so that people can find you where they need to find you, when they need to find you, and I'm sure you're gonna serve them well because you are a professional who knows what he's doing. You have all the experience and all the education behind it. So that's fantastic. I don't know if you have any parting shots you want to tell our audience today before we end this live recording.
Yeah, my parting shot. All of us, we are capable of doing whatever we want. And all that is deep-rooted within you. Changing your life, anything you're disinterested, anything you want to do, just know it comes from deep within. So, take a journey of discovering yourself. What are your values? What are your needs? What is it that you like? What is it that you don't like? And actually, it won't be a crime for you to specify those things and move towards that. Stop blaming anybody. Environment doesn't influence who you are. You influence the environment. So just believe in that and know that you have a strong locus of control from deep within. So move out by yourself first. Then other people will help you to move. Yeah, but if you expect other people to move you, you'll be disappointed. You are the jet. So move and other people will follow you.
That's fantastic. I cannot top that off. That is fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that. Before we end it, let me read a few comments from some guys here. Rose says that if you are an MC, then for Christmas concert, you've got yourself a job. I think you need to get in touch with Rose Kaido and get your gig.
Let me tell Rose. Hey, Rose, I'm booked on 3rd Saturday. That it starts from Saturday. I'm booked on Saturday. The first Saturday of December is on 3rd. Yes, I'm booked on from that, and continuously those weekends until from first I'm away. So we will talk, Rose.
I think Rose, for you, your Christmas party will be held in February. So just prepare yourself in February. Yegon says good work, Juma. So Yegon says good work for you, Juma. That's fantastic.
Thank God.
Maureen Suge says good work, Juma. Peter says wow, thank you, Mr. Juma, for the informative session. Michael says good work. And Jacqueline Runyora again says, Jenny, this is really good. I'm very impressed. Thank you, Jackie. We really appreciate this. And I see you, Josephine, that you are in the live, as well as Aaron. Harrison says, good job, brother Juma. Victor, keep it up. And Aaron says, good job, bro. So I think this is the place where we end this live. Thank you so much, every single person who has been able to join the live. We really, really appreciate you. We appreciate that you made the time. We know that you might have been busy, but you took the time to come and join Infinity Wellness as we talk about getting to know our therapists and making this a thing. Thank you, Juma, for taking the time to come through here and sit with us for over an hour to discuss the work that you do and how you do it and how you got here and what you see the future looking like. We really appreciate it. We have learned a lot from you. And I really, really appreciate the work that you're doing. And I wish you nothing but the best in future. With that said, I want to wish everybody a good night and a good morning if you're watching this tomorrow morning or whatever time of the day. Enjoy the show, share it with a friend, be the very first person who shares mental health content in the groups that you're in, be the change maker, be the number one person who is always at the forefront of campaigning for mental health. So thank you, Juma. Thank you to the audience.
Thank you, Jenny.
Good night.
Welcome. Good night.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.